Alright, in today's video we're going to go over my Bonafide SS127 kayak setup. I got the new kayak this spring. I ordered it in February, got it in late May, early June. I don't remember if it was right before Memorial Weekend or right after, but either way, I did get some stuff ahead of time anticipating doing this build. The drawer in the under the cover here, that goes in there. I got an extra pod so I could get that done ahead of time, and the flex wings, and I think these clips or something along that lines. So we're going to go over this step by step. I'm going to go over it from front to back, all the mods that I did. Some of the ideas came from just weird stuff out of my head, but then also some were inspired by people like Gene Jensen and Manuel from the Bonafide Facebook group and online and so on. So, and really for me, I just like projects, which unfortunately for my wife has to deal with me going from project to project to project. This kayak is pretty much done if she's watching. For everybody else, it's for now. And yeah, I'm super excited. I've been taking it out and having a blast. Absolutely went out last night, and for the first time I'm night fishing because I finally got the skin on and electrical done, and wow, I went from liking kayak fishing to absolutely in love with it just from one night fishing. So with that, let's get started. The first thing I guess we'll just mention that the skin is from BRD Skins. I put that on last week. It took me, I don't know, probably 10 minutes to do the second side. I got the second side. I will say that it was easier doing the second side than the first side, but I did shoot the video on how to do it and me doing it, so I will be releasing that in a few days, maybe by the end of next week. But yes, every step that I did on here, I did record it. I will edit it, and I will be sending out videos to YouTube to have the series. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the video. You can reach out to me on Facebook or on any of my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, so on. But I will be linking all the products that I used, where I got them, in those videos. But if you can't wait and you see something on here today that you would like me to link, just leave a comment and I will gladly set the link up. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, with the trolling motor, again, I wanted to fab tons and tons and tons of stuff. And I was going to fab my own mount for the trolling motor, but I had our Fish Pro for the channel, Mike. He's got a Hobie PA, and he was setting up something similar to what I'm doing with this Bonafide. He got a one objective mount for that, and I saw it, and we installed it, and I'm like, okay, I'll just get the one objective one. It's so easy. Took so much guesswork and measuring and just building out of it, which also took away that fun, but for me it was worth it. At the price, it was just worth getting the mount and know I'm going to have my $1,200 trolling motor secure and good to go. With the trolling motor, it's a Motor Guide XI3 like everybody else. However, this is not the 36 inch because I could not find the 36 inch like everybody else. It is the 48 inch, and I have not cut it down, and after using it, I'm not going to cut it down. And here's why. And it has nothing to do with all the space that I'm using up here. It has more to do with I'm 6'2", but I'm all upper body. So I have kind of short legs, and I sit high in the seat, and I have super long arms. My reach is, I think, 6'5" or 6'6". So with my long arms, I could sit in the seat and pull on the cable and bring the kayak head down, but then I can reach and grab the head, turn it, and pull it the last little bit because it's 12 inches closer. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. I know I have to watch with the fish going back and forth. I don't hook on it, but you know, everybody does to an extent. It's just I have to worry about that extra 12 inches. And I think that the positives outweigh the negatives for me. So I'm just going to leave it at 48. Plus, I like that I have even more room to drop it down if I'm in some wavier waters out on Lake Michigan or something. So on the trolling motor, I have These two mounts that I got off of Amazon, actually it's kind of funny because there's somebody else on the Facebook group that found them the same time. I mean, we both talked about them the same time in the group, suggesting them for somebody else. Just coincidental that these are really cheap, they're really nice, they fit the shaft perfectly, and they're for ATV lights. So seeing that they're for ATV lights, I did have an extra AV light here for a floodlight, and it works amazing. To have a floodlight that I can turn any direction I want with the remote is really, really nice. The cord that I'm using is just 550 cord that I heat shrinked the end to protect it and to hold it all together. And it runs all the way back to the end. So with the spotlight, I did run the wire up and then through the middle and down into the trolling motor, and then out and into an SEA plug that goes into here. So with all the wiring that I did on this kayak, every bit of electrical is soldered and then heat shrunk. Even if you see some electrical tape over some of my connections, it's still soldered and heat shrunk underneath that. I just wanted the extra little bit of protection with some electrical tape as well. But I'm a firm believer that you solder everything. I never have to worry about a crimp going bad. I never have to worry about moisture getting in there and causing issues. Soldered is nice and strong. There is some people that will say maybe solder gets brittle. I don't care. It's still better than crimp connections in my opinion. Going back, I do have my cable here. This is an actual mini bike cable that is like 10 bucks on Amazon with some stainless steel D-rings. I just undo this D-ring right here to disconnect it. This goes back to the pedal, and I just press on this pedal with my foot, pulls down the release, and does what you expect to do. I personally wanted to keep a hand free at all times when I'm working with the trolling motor, so having my foot handle this and then being able to pull on this with one hand, reach up and turn the head, works really well for me. I know having one hand free sounds kind of odd when you're talking about a kayak and a paddle where you have both hands on the paddle, but in this case I just wanted to make sure that I had it one hand on it. Going back from there now, I have the Yellowtech 20-inch with the Gopro 9. These mounts, you just drill a hole and screw in. I will say that if I have two pieces of advice with anything you're going to do with the kayak when it comes to this, think and plan it out and measure. The whole adage, measure twice, cut once. Yes, do it. Think it through before you pop any holes. If I had to do it over, this mount that's way up here, I would have mounted it back here. And only because this wide-angled lens that I have on the GoPro still up here would still see everything just fine. However, having it mounted up here, sometimes when I bring the trolling motor down, this big cable will hit the GoPro and knock it down. So up on the top of I have it drilled straight down, of course, is the trolling motor connection, the SAE connection for the spotlight, and then the network connection for the connected trolling motor to the Lowrance fish finder. Underneath the cover is all the electrical for the kayak itself. So lift it up, and inside I have amped outdoor 60 amp hour battery. It does not fit in the tray that Bonafide has, and if anybody from Bonafide watches this or anybody who knows any history about this tray, I was a little baffled when it first came at how small it was, and I thought there's no way that compartment is that small on that 127. But when I got the 127, of course the tray is way smaller than the area that it's in. As well, it gets really narrow in there. I don't know if it's meant for like a Dakota lithium or if it's meant for a certain series battery, but the amped outdoors did not fit. I will show in a video on how you can change that with a couple of heat guns and some patience. And then in here, of course, you got the breaker, and I have a terminal which connects all the wires for all the lighting into this terminal, which then connects to a wire and an 8 wire plug that I connect into the pod, which we'll get into. The only thing that's connected to the battery, the big battery, the 60 amp hour, is the two YOLOtech poles for the GoPros and the trolling motor. Everything else is connected to the battery that I have in my pod. Alright, so I'm doing little pauses in between each section, just to see if I need to cut anything out. This video I'm going to try to cut out all the pauses and any of my rambling, because I do a little bit too much of that, and I want it to be a little bit shorter video, even though I'm going in depth of all this stuff. So from here I have a 12-inch tablet, and let me explain. I'm sure some people who are minimalists for sure are like, oh my god, this kayak has just got loaded way too much stuff. And even those of you who do load your kayaks up probably still don't have a 12-inch tablet on a pole by their fish finder. And the reason is I don't use this just for fishing. I do live stream using the tablet, but also I use this kayak to work with my underwater drone. I have a Chasing F1 fish finding drone from Maverick Drones that I'm using for the summer, and that with the kayak allows me to check out some lights, check out what's under the water, find some stuff that I see on the fish finder, on the sonar, and then if it's anything interesting like a anchor or something, then I'll go back with the boat with my big drone with the claw in the front and retrieve it. So this is not just for fishing. I use it for a bunch of other stuff, and that's why the tablet is on there. The tablet, I did mount it where the US made in US sticker is from Bonafide, and I did relocate that there because that is a #1 priority to keep that on there for me. Alright, so we do have a Stealth. From there we have the Stealth rod holder. I do like that it's, and normally I just have it out of the way. Normally it's facing, this direction, but those are nice so that you can snap your rods in, and if you tip or something, they're going to be locked in and secure. Really nice rod holders. And then onto the pod itself. Now I got this pod early and started working on it, and I was looking at other ideas of what other people were doing, and I knew that I wanted the pod to be essentially the central hub for the entire kayak. I did not want a bunch of switches mounted in the kayak. I wanted everything mounted in this pod, and then control to be able to plug into the kayak essentially and control all the lighting. And that's what I did. So the terminal block that I have in here goes to this 8-plug wire. I will be doing a video on all of this, or I have shot the video. I just have to edit it and get it up. But showing how to make these plugs, how to wire the terminals, all that. I have epoxied in the male plug into the pod, and essentially I drop the pod down and I plug it in. With that, I'm able to control all of the lights, from nav lights to anchor light to the interior light to the spotlight, these white interior lights that I have mounted in the pod itself, and then of course the USB connector. And then as you know, this is the network cable. On the pod itself, I did 3D print the mount for the transducer. I just did a simple H pattern essentially, and then built it into 3 pieces, epoxied those together, and then formed the shape of that matches with the pod and the transducer, and silicone, and screwed them together. Inside the pod, you will see a 18 amp hour amped outdoors battery. There's my fuses that are running the main, pretty much everything. You want to have everything fused. I do have the entire transducer cable wrapped around inside the small part of the pod, and then a plastic divider that I have sealed so that no matter what, this pod is going to be sealed. See, from there I have the Yak Attack, or not Yak Attack, Yak Gadget paddle and rod holder. I love that thing. To have 2 rods out there at all times. I can just have it sitting and then have the other ones mounted in the back. I absolutely love it. It's an amazing little device, and for the price, it's worth every penny. I think it was $35 or $39. So from there, I really don't have anything too, out of the ordinary. Like everybody else, I have the seat clips there. I didn't do anything with the drawer yet. Nothing special with the seat. I have the Yakutech drink beverage holder, one there and one there. The one in front I generally use to hold screwdrivers, pliers, and my tools, and so on. In the back, I have another Stealth rod holder, the other Yellowtech, the 53-inch Yellowtech power pole with the Gopro 9. I have that mounted into the corner of the kayak, and then lastly, I have my homemade milk crate, which is holding the drone in the back, and in my Plano boxes, which this is just kind of a mess that I threw in there. I have different ones that I generally use that fit a little bit better in there. So with that, I think that pretty much covers it. The only thing that I'm going to mention is these, because I think if I don't talk about it, I will have people asking about it in the comment section. So built into my milk crate, I have a piece of PVC pipe, and this is these are each 1/2 of a coupler for PVC coupler for 1.25 inches, I think. And with that, I have 2 PVC and buoy outriggers that I made. So as I mentioned, with the drone, I'm out on waters that I'm either leaning over the side a lot because of the drone, or out on Lake Michigan, I like having that a little bit more stability, just because the bigger boats sometimes don't always see you and they throw a big wake. Or I might even, a day that I might be knowing that I'm doing a lot of sight fishing and I want more stability. Now the SS127 is extremely stable. I used a Hobie Outback last year, and I believe that this 127 is way more stable than that Outback was. However, sometimes I'm 6'2", too high, and I just want to have a little bit more stability. I don't use it most of the time. Probably only will use it on specific instances, but it is nice knowing that if I have that I can add that stability. And because I didn't want to have any pressure points on the kayak itself, having it built into my milk crate, it made it so much easier, in my opinion, to not put that stress, not mount it on the kayak itself. And it works amazing. Honestly, when they're in and I'm standing, it feels like I'm on my boat. It's that much more stable with a kayak that's already extremely stable.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button, bell notification, and follow us on all of our social media forums. Until next time, see you on the water.